All right, guys. Good morning. Day 6, January the 6th, 2025. My mom reminded me on my video yesterday, the morning video, not the evening video, that yesterday was my great-grandmother, Granny Edith, we called her. It was her birthday and also the day that she passed. She passed almost 100 years, 90-something years after she was born on January 5th. Pretty wild that she was born and passed on the same day. But she was the coolest old lady, man. She was so sweet and taught me so much. Before I was even in school, before I ever even went to kindergarten, she had me, learning math and reading, and she'd get me those highlights magazines that you see in doctor's offices now. And I mean, she taught me so much when I was a kid. But yeah, it was a tough day when we lost her. She was good people, good Christian woman too. Anyway, today's video is going to be a little bit different. Yesterday, something happened. As you guys know, or may not, I don't know. I live in Freeport, Florida, which is in Walton County. The way that our area is kind of set up is there's kind of this island, essentially, right, that houses Destin, Florida, and Santa Rosa Beach, 30A area, Rosemary Beach, Panama City Beach, those kind of vacation areas, right? And then just off of the island are the places where the other people live, right? Me, as it were. It's kind of like when you go to Disney World, right? And you have all the people that work at Disney World live outside of the direct Disney World area. They don't live right next door. They live in the towns around there. And you don't think about that a lot, right? But anyway, that's how it works here, kind of. There are obviously people that live on the island. It's not really an island. It kind of is, though. But anyway, I go to church at a church in Destin. It's called Shoreline Church. And if you didn't know that about me, now you do. Something happened at my church yesterday. My pastor, Pastor Eric, said something from stage. To give you guys a quick background on Pastor Eric, straight out of high school, pretty much, this guy moved to New York City with dreams of becoming a stand-up comedian, right? And he's kind of speaks before he thinks sometimes, because he's got that comedy mindset, essentially. If something seems like it might be funny in the moment, he's going to say it, and then he'll have to just deal with the repercussions. And that's where we are today. Yesterday he said something. What he was doing was he was giving a comparison of distance in the Bible. He was talking about a travel route from city A to city B. And he was using Destin, where the church is, and Defuniak Springs, which is actually a good hour drive, probably, maybe even a little bit more. So a good long walk, right? If you were walking it or riding a donkey or something back in biblical times, right? It's an hour-ish drive. And he said, "Oh, do we get, it's like going from Destin to Defuniak Springs. Do we have anybody here from Defuniak Springs?" And I think what he was attempting to do in that moment was to show you that people don't really travel that far for very many things, right? Especially not for church, typically. You typically find a church near your home, right? If it starts raining on me, we're just going to keep walking. Because, I'm out here now, right? So, that was where his intent was going. And then no one raised their hand, obviously. But funny story, we actually do have attendees. We do have people in our congregation that live in Defuniak Springs. So anyway, then he said something to the effect of, "Oh, they must be still at home cooking meth," or something like that. I don't remember the exact line, but I was there. I remember being a little bit taken aback by it, but it also made me chuckle. And you want to know why? It was funny. I'll just be honest. He could have used Freeport, where I live, and it still would have been funny. He could have said Crestview, and it still would have been funny. He could have said any number of towns in our area. He could have said Destin. He could have been at a church an hour away from Destin and said Destin, and that joke still would have been funny to me. It still would have been funny. Because I know Eric's heart. And I know that Eric he wasn't talking bad about the people of Defuniak Springs. He was just in the moment, and he said something that hurt some people's feelings. And if you haven't been there, I would love for you to put your name in the comments, because I need to shake your hand. If you've never said something that hurt someone's feelings, even in a public forum sometimes, right? Go ahead and put your name down. I want to shake your hand. Now, what I'm not trying to do here is defend what he said. He said something that, it doesn't ring true necessarily, and it wasn't nice, right? Of course. What I am trying to do is say that the people that go to our church that live in Defuniak actually attended the service after the one where he said that. And to my knowledge, he didn't say the joke again necessarily, but he still used Defuniak, and they knew about the joke, and they weren't offended. You know why? They don't cook meth. So it didn't offend them. They weren't at home cooking meth. They were actually on their way to church. How cool is that? Right? They didn't find it offensive because it didn't pertain to them. Yes, they live in that town, but unless you, if you think that because you live in a certain town, people actually think that about you, you're wrong. It's not how this works. So anyway, I kind of got a little off on my point was, people are on online bashing him right now because of this thing that he said. And hey, maybe they're allowed to. Maybe they're allowed to. Whether they should or shouldn't, that's not my department, but they're allowed to. But if the funny part to me is that even the people that live in that town, or towns like, in that same demographic, let's call it, I don't know. People that live in those towns that know Eric, myself included, know that he didn't mean that about the people of that area. The people that are offended by this are the people that don't know him. They don't know his heart. They don't know that he's done more for the kingdom than most people I know put together. They don't know that he fronts, and we have initiatives in our church body to help people of all types, in all situations, in all areas, and that we don't, he's not out there just focusing on, the higher ups and not the downtrodden. I promise that's not true. And, I just say all that to say that, if you ever slip up, if you're watching this and you ever slip up, I'll be the first person to forgive you. And I think that Eric would too. In fact, I know he would. So, do with that information what you will. It seems to me that the overarching theme of the Bible, especially the New Testament and the story of Jesus, is forgiveness. And, there you have it. I don't know what else to say about it. I still love Pastor Eric, and I still love all of you, and so does Jesus. So, Have a great day. God bless you, and I love you guys.